So there's a place in the middle of Vietnam, roughly, that's called Phong Nha Ki Bang National Park, and man, it's one of my top 3 favorite hostels of all time. It might even be number 2 of the top 3, but it's definitely not number 1, because number 1 is Loki Del Mar in Mancora in Peru, and this other one is called Easy Tiger in Phong Nha, and just one of the best hostels you've ever seen. Just good vibe, good food, good environment, party but not too much, adventures but not all about adventures. Like, got a pool, relaxing area, live music every night. Just got its own restaurant. Far out, man. It was so good. But Phong Nha Ki Bang, so it's the largest cave system in the world, and they have the Paradise Cave, which is just a day trip. Lonely Planet voted Paradise Cave the world's most beautiful cave, and I wouldn't doubt it. They have, and then they have a number of different caves that some of the caves, there've been less people to get to the end of that cave than have gotten to Mount Everest, because it was only discovered and become open to the public about 4 years ago. So probably 5 or 6 now, because I was there about 18 months ago. So it's very raw and unblemished, really. So it's really incredible. Phong Nha National Park. One of the coolest things that happened there was I was riding around and made heaps of friends, and that was the one place that I spent probably like 3 or 4 days, where I actually settled and took some time to explore and just have a good time, meeting people and drinking a few beers and stuff like that. Hooked up with an English chick. She was crazy, actually. It was pretty funny. But and then went crazy afterwards. But so Phong Nha, if I was to combine my 40 plus countries I've been to, and let's say all those countries I've been to 3 or 4 places, so let's say I've been to 150, 200 places, I would be, if you gave me five spots that I could go to again, that I had to delete everything else, and I could say I've been to these 5 places in all my travelling history, Phong Nha would be one of them, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, it was just so sick. Had a really cool experience there where these young Vietnamese boys, so I was just like, I was bored one day and I was like, you know what, everyone's kind of hungover. I was just like waiting for people to, you know, get some excitement and get back from tours and maybe like wake up a little bit or whatever. I mustn't have been hungover, or I just wanted to get out and get on the bike. So I got on my bike and I started just riding aimlessly around Phong Nha. So that was cool. And just kind of like, yeah, cool, taking a left here, right there, whatever, just loving it. And then I get down this dirt, gravelly road, and I'm riding along. I'm only going like 20, 30 kilometres an hour. And then I see this group of little kids, probably like 10 years old, I reckon, most of them. But they were all different ages, because I think it was like primary school kids. And so they were from like 5 years old to like 12. And they were walking home from school, I assume. Anyway, they're like, Mister, jumping up and down, Mister. And I've ridden up and I'm like, hey, how's it going, boys? What's going on? They can't speak any English. All they can say is, Mister, thank you, please, whatever. Mister. And they're pointing into the bushes. They're like, Mister. I'm like, what are they fucking looking at? And then they've got rocks. So all these kids have like 1 or 2 rocks in their hands. They're like, Mister, watch Mister. They have this rock and then they're throwing it in the bushes. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Mister. And then I look, and this kid throws this rock, and I watch the trajectory of the rock, and it goes straight past this massive beehive. And I'm talking like 2.5 feet by 2 feet of bees. And I was just, and it's literally like 10 meters away. No, not even that far. Not that far at all. 4 meters away. And I was like, oh, these little dudes are throwing rocks at bees. This is mental. So I park my bike. I'm like, yeah, boys, what's going on? Give me a rock. Anyway, so they're throwing, having a go. They're like, come on. They're laughing their heads off. I'm throwing rocks at this beehive. They're throwing rocks at this beehive. I'm laughing, high-fiving. We're nearly getting it. Like, just so good. And then finally, I've gone the old sideways throw, where you like when you try and skim a rock across the water at the beach. I've gone the old sideways piff, and I've just gone, and then, and the beehive exploded. And I'm talking like, must have been 1 million bees in there. And they came after us. So me and these little Vietnamese lads were like, run! And we ran as fast as we could. And then no one got eaten by bees, but it was just one of those real nice experiences where I probably shouldn't have fucking thrown rocks at the beehive, let's be honest. But it was just nice because there was no communication between the two parties, like me and the kids. No structured communication. There was Mr. Thank you, look, fucking, I think they could say fuck too. They were like, fuck mister, fuck mister, fuck. So that was about it. But we both parties, like, we just got it, you know. We just, it was really nice. It probably sounds a bit silly, but it was really nice. So Vietnam was mad. So good. So many funny stories. My friend Sean. So I met this dude. Sean in Hue. Hue is like the middle of the country where the service centre was. So I was in Hue, and by the time I met Sean, and I met a number of people there, met heaps of people at this hostel. But by the time I met Sean and everybody else, like, I'd been travelling by myself for a fair while, and like the majority of the time riding by myself for like 5 days, and that gets pretty fucking boring, to be honest. It's awesome, but it's also like, it's a little bit lonely, you know. So I was keen to meet people, but I met Sean and I'm like, fuck, I don't know about this dude. I just wasn't really clicking with him. I didn't know him. And then some people you just click with instantly. I knew he was a nice guy, but I was just like, yeah. And then anyway, so Sean's like, oh, do you want to ride to the next place together? And I was like, yeah, all right. And then anyway, he was fucking around in the day, and we were supposed to meet at this time or whatever. And then it wasn't really working out. I was like, you know what, fuck this guy. I'll meet him at the next joint anyway. I'm going to see him, and we'll have beers or whatever at the next place, but I can't really be bothered riding with him, and I don't really want him slowing me down or me going too slow for him or whatever. So I was just packing my bag, and I was just going to take off because he was late anyway to where we were supposed to meet, and I think I left him a note. And then anyway, just as I'm about to leave, he rolls in and he's like, hey, what's going on? Are we going together? I'm like, oh, fuck, yeah, let's do it. So anyway, I jump on the bike with Sean, and we start riding, and we get about 20 minutes down the road, and there's this big intersection, like hundreds of bikes, hundreds of cars, not a T intersection, just a stop sign. It's like, you know, everyone going all directions, north, south, east, west. And I'm right in front of Sean, and we said to each other, I said to him actually, because I was like just a bit off it, I was like, mate, if we get lost, we're not looking for each other. We just meet at the next spot because we're never going to find each other. We don't have range enough to call, and it's fruitless. So I said, if we lose each other, we just bomb along, we catch each other at the next joint. So anyway, he's like, yeah. But I'm talking like in an hour now. So it's about 8 hours, 6 hours ride that we had in front of us. So I'm talking in like 3 hours, 4 hours, not 20 minutes in. So I'm sitting there at these lights, and anyway, Sean's right next to me, but like left and just to the back. And the light goes green. I'm riding. I'm going 20 kilometers an hour. I get through the lights. I look to my left. Sean's not there. I'm like, right, okay, cool. He's definitely not in front of me because no one had really passed me because I was kind of towards the front. Riding along. Where the fuck's Sean? No, he's not behind me still. All right, pull over to the side of the road, look around. No fucking Sean. I'm like, what on earth has just happened? Like, what is going on here? So anyway, I'm like, well, fuck it. Fuck this bloke. Anyway, what ended up happening was we both knew we were going straight. Like, there was no fucking way you would turn right where we were. And Sean turned right at the lights. And I was right next to him, but in front, leading the way. He saw me. I went straight. He just kept on going right. Anyway, so I'm riding along. And this is like 2 hours later. Yeah, I'd say it's 2 hours later. So it's probably like nearly 3 hours in. And I'm riding along and I just hear, meep, 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 meep. I'm like, the fuck? Meep, 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 meep. I'm like looking around. Meep, 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 meep. Dude pulls up next to me. It's Sean, just on the horn. Meep, 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 meep. We're like, yeah, fucking oath. And this fired me up, you know. I wasn't really into this dude at the start. I was into him, but I just wasn't into like riding with someone. I hadn't done it yet. So at this stage, it just fired me up and fucking like, I'm like, yeah, we're on. We're high-fiving as we're riding. Wow, let's go, mate. And then, anyway, so, well, let's get some lunch. So we sit down and get some lunch. And then by this stage, you know, after sitting down and having lunch with Sean, I'm like, I really fucking like this guy. He was real like low-key, real softly spoken, real like, he was a Welsh dude. And he was one of those Welsh dudes that I just felt like everything was just like hard luck on him. It was just kind of like his lot in life. But he was the funniest bloke and the best guy. Like, he was a fucking legend. Anyway, so we're having lunch. And I'm starting to really like Sean. I'm like, yeah, this guy's good. Let's carry this on for sure. This is going to be good fun riding with this dude. There's going to be some funny stories. I could just tell there was going to be some funny stories. And then anyway, so I'm riding along. So we're having lunch. And we're sitting down, and I'd been riding through... there's basically 2 roads that you can ride from north to south of Vietnam. One of them is along the beach, like effectively Highway 1. And one of them is through the mountains near the border of Laos, which is like fucking just jungle bashing. I mean, some of the roads are dodgy, but it's mainly paved roads. But it's just like, it's a hectic trek through the jungles of like no man's land in the middle of Vietnam. And the rest is, like I said, Highway 1. And when I was in Dalat, starting my trip roughly, the guys told me, they're like, hey, the locals were like, don't ride the mountain passes because it's too dangerous for someone on their own. I did it anyway, because I'm an idiot, like I said. So by the time we got to Hue, there wasn't that much of the mountain pass left. But mind you, the mountain pass is absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. And the Highway 1 is along the coast, so you get a lot of beach, but it's nowhere near as pretty. So anyway, I've had days and days and days of riding in the mountains. Where we are now, me and Sean, we're at this particular juncture, and we're on our way to Phong Nha National Park, the cave system that I spoke about. So after days and days in the jungle, there's really only about 3 or 4 hours of the mountain pass left before it gets to Phong Nha National Park, and then you can't really ride that anymore. Then it's just like a different road. So Sean, who's been going Highway 1 the whole time, hasn't seen any of the jungle. So we're sitting at lunch, and we're like, hey, Sean goes, hey, dude. So there's about 3.5 hours of light left, and we have about 3 hours of ride ahead of us along Highway 1 to get to Phong Nha National Park. So it's perfect, you know. So you don't want to be riding in the dark if you don't have to, because the lights that you get are fucked. They literally go 2 meters at the best of times, and it's just so much more element of risk and danger. So anyway, we're sitting down at lunch, and Sean goes, hey, dude, how was the mountain pass? There's a particular road name for this mountain pass, but I'm just going to call it the mountain pass. He goes, how's the mountain pass? I said, oh, dude, it was breathtaking. It was like, you know, when you see like Vietnam war movies or just Vietnam in general, tourism advertisements, you see like the jungles of Vietnam, and you see that mist rising out of the jungles. It was like that every day. Like, it was spectacular. So I'm telling this to Sean, and Sean's like, yeah. He goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, I'm going to do it. Let's do it. And I'm like, what? He goes, let's do it. I said, what do you mean, let's do it? He goes, let's go in there tonight. Let's go back to the mountain pass and ride that way to Phong Nha. I'm like, nah, dude. It takes, for one, an hour and a half to get in there, and then we've got 2 hours of light left, and you're further away from Phong Nha. It's 4 hours of ride from there then. I'm not riding in the dark. That means we'll ride in the dark. Best case scenario, we're going to be riding in the dark for 2 hours. He's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, nah, dude. I'm not fucking doing that. That's way too dangerous. That is sketchy as. And he's like, oh, no. Come with me. I haven't seen the mountain pass. I'm like, I've seen it, bro. And I'm not fucking going. I'm not riding in the dark, dude. And he's like, all right, fuck, I'm doing it on my own. I'm like, you shouldn't do it, bro. He's like, no. It'll be sweet. I'm like, well, you know what? It will be sweet. You know, it's not the fucking craziest thing on the face of the earth to ride in the dark for a couple of hours. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go the main road. Like, I'm not fucking around. I'm so tired, whatever. And I don't want to ride in the dark. And Sean's like, well, I haven't done the thing. And I also want to see the sunset. All these other bits and pieces that I'm just like, yeah, dude, you can go do it, but I'm not. And that's me, like, I've only just met this bloke, right? If it was one of my best mates, I'd be like, oh, I'm in it with you. I'm in it together. But I was just like, fuck, man. I met him like 5 hours ago. I'm not doing it. So anyway, I get on my bike and I start riding, and something fucks up along the way. A couple of things fuck up. And I spend the last 45 minutes of my ride riding in the dark. And all you can see is just like, not all you can see. You can see fuck all in front of you, and all that's happening is just bugs in your eyes, bugs in your eyes, bugs in your eyes, bugs in your eyes. And it's just like, oh, you can't put sunglasses on because you can't see anything. It's like, oh, this is the absolute pits. This is every fucking person's worst nightmare. So anyway, I get down into this joint, have a shower, fucking sit down for a sec, go down the bar, and I start talking to this chick. I was sitting by myself, and she just came and sat next to me. She was drunk. She's like, oh my God, why are you sitting by yourself? She was pretty, this girl. And I was like, oh, I just got in, I'm real tired. She's like, oh, do you mind if I sit and eat here or whatever? I'm like, yeah, cool. So I sit and hang with this chick for like 3 hours, probably 2 hours more like. So by this stage, it's probably like 10 p.m. And then, so I'm like, where the fuck's Sean? And then, so I'm like, hang on a sec. He should be arriving around now, 10 p.m. Like that's, 2 hours of ride in the darkness, blah, 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 whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just going to hang around. I'll maybe have a read, sit on my computer, just chill out till about midnight. Like I'm going to wait for him. I stay up till midnight and no sign of Sean. At this stage, I'm like, fuck. What I reckon has happened is he started riding in the dark and he's like, fuck this. This is too sketch. And he's got a night somewhere and he'll arrive tomorrow. That's what I'm assuming. So I'm like, that's all right. Hopefully nothing bad has happened, but I'm sure it hasn't. So it'll be fine. So anyway, so I go to bed. I wake up the next day and I totally forget about Sean, really. I'm just like, have breakfast and I'm going to get on the bike and go do some tours and stuff with some people that I met. Or this chick, Netta, who was in my hostel, in my dorm. She's like, hey, let's be buddies. I'm like, okay, cool. So anyway, as I'm about to take off, Sean walks through the fucking door. He's actually already put his bike down. And he got in late last night, actually, but he was up doing some stuff in the morning. I'm like, yo, bro, what's happening? Fucking good to see you. What's going on? What happened last night? I look at him, and he's got fucking cuts and scratches all the way from, like, middle of his quad, which is as far up as I can see from his shorts, all the way down to his leg. He's got, like, severe burns. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? He goes, yeah, man, I fucking hit a curb going around a corner that I didn't see in the darkness, and I fucking slid out for, like, 10 meters. And, showed me up his back. He's got all his stuff. I'm like, oh, dude. Oh, my God. I felt pretty bad. I'm like, fuck. Anyway, so it's illegal for a local Vietnamese person to house a foreigner. Like, it's illegal in their country. So he's, like, knocking on doors. His bike is busted bad. He can hardly walk, and he's got no food or water. And he reckons all he needed was water. He's, like, knocking on doors. Please, can I have some water? Please, can I have some water? People are yelling at him. Like, get out of here. Get out of here. Get off my deck. Get off my lawn. Fuck off. Next house, same thing. Next house, same thing. Then someone finally gives him a glass of water. He's like, oh my God, fucking thank God. And he's like, can I stay here? I need to sleep. And people are just going, nah, no deal. Fuck off. Get out of here. Anyway, so he's like, fuck, I'm going to have to ride somewhere. Like, I'm going to have to ride to a hotel. So he goes back to his bike and he realizes that his kickstand, yeah, well, whatever you start the bike, the kicker, whatever, kickstand. Anyway, it's bent so fucking bad that he can't actually kick it to start it. It's like as he fell, he fucked it. He also didn't know that he broke his second gear. So he had gears 1 and 3. So anyway, after about 2 hours of walking up and down the street, he finally finds his family that will give him some food, give him some water, and they gave him a hammer, one hammer. So he goes back to his bike, never done any fucking mechanical work in his life, and fixes his kickstand over the course of like 45 minutes, just banging it with a hammer. Fixes it so that it's bent back into shape enough that he can kick it, start his fucking bike. So he kicks it, starts his bike. Anyway, so he's riding along, and at this stage, you can see 2 meters in front of him, and he's riding along this mountain pass, like dodgy roads, corners everywhere, whatever, and he's got no second gear. So he's riding in first gear. So he's riding 15 kilometers an hour. So instead of going 40 kilometers an hour and it taking fucking 6 hours or 4 hours, whatever I said, he's going 15 kilometers an hour in the middle of the night and he can't see fuck all in front of him. And he's telling me all this and I'm wetting myself. I'm like, what the fuck, man? And then anyway, he goes, then I get to 45 minutes from here. I said, yeah. He goes, and my light breaks down. I was like, your light on your bike breaks down? He goes, yeah. Pitch black. I don't know where I am. I don't know what the road looks like. And I don't know where I'm going to fucking sleep. I was like, dude, what the fuck did you do? And he pulls up his iPhone and turns the torch on his iPhone and he goes, this. And oh my fucking God, I've never laughed so hard in my life. So imagine Sean, right? It's like 3 a.m. He's in Vietnam. He's riding with one hand in first gear while his right hand holds the light on his iPhone, the torch on his iPhone to light his way. And he got in at like fucking 4 a.m. I felt like a bit of a fucking cunt, to be honest, because he really wanted me to go with him. And I didn't want to go because I knew that shit would happen. Like, I knew that would happen. And I should have probably gone with him, but I didn't. And that's the Sean story. And fuck, man, he was the funniest dude. Like, that was not the end of what happened to Sean on that trip either. Like, he just went through. But I love that bloke. I started off as like, I don't know about this guy. I don't know if I want to ride with him. And I'm so glad I made the decision to do that because he was an absolute just fucking... He's just a legend. He's one of those guys that you say he's a legend. And you really mean it.